Wake up. There is a thief living inside your mind. It has been present in nearly every moment of suffering you have ever experienced. Nearly every frustration, nearly every fear, nearly every conflict. The strangest part. You protect it. You feed it. You defend it. And you call it me. Before you reject this idea, take a closer look. How many times have you suffered because someone failed to recognize your value? How many times have you been disturbed because reality refused to match your expectations? How many times have you compared yourself to someone else? How many times have you felt the need to prove something, to be right, to be admired, to be important? There is a force operating beneath all of this. A silent force. A force that is not interested in truth, not interested in growth, not interested in wisdom. It wants only one thing: to survive. And in order to survive, it must convince you that it is you. Since childhood, you have been building an identity, a name, a personality, a collection of memories, a collection of beliefs, a collection of wounds, a collection of victories. Slowly, all of these pieces were assembled into a single image, an image called I, and without realizing it, you began to worship that image. You began to defend it, protect it, strengthen it, polish it. But have you ever stopped to ask a dangerous question? What if that image is not who you are? Notice something. When someone challenges one of your beliefs, why does it feel personal? When someone criticizes your opinion, why does discomfort arise? When someone questions your worldview, why do you become defensive? If it were merely an idea, you could observe it. You could examine it. You could let it go. But when identity becomes attached, every disagreement feels like an attack. Because the ego has a remarkable ability. It turns everything into itself. Your opinions become me. Your possessions become me. Your achievements become me. Your failures become me. Your pain becomes me. Your story becomes me. Everything becomes part of the structure. And the larger the structure becomes, the heavier life feels. Imagine a traveler crossing a vast desert. At first, they carry only what is necessary. But along the way, they begin collecting stones. One here, one there, another one, and another. Years pass. The backpack becomes heavier and heavier. Eventually, the traveler begins to complain about the journey itself, without realizing that the real burden was never the road. It was what they chose to carry. This is what the ego does. It collects identities, collects wounds, collects labels, collects victories, collects failures, collects resentments, collects comparisons, then wonders why life feels exhausting. Perhaps much of human suffering has nothing to do with life itself. Perhaps it comes from defending a version of yourself that exists only in thought. Watch how the ego operates. It is constantly comparing, always measuring, always calculating. More successful, more attractive, more respected, more powerful, more important. It turns existence into an endless competition, and the tragedy is that the competition never ends. There will always be someone with more. Someone ahead, someone admired, someone celebrated, someone possessing what the ego desires. Which is why the ego can never find peace. Its survival depends on dissatisfaction. If it becomes content, it loses momentum. If it loses momentum, it begins to fade. And that is the one thing it fears, because there is something the ego fears more than failure, more than rejection, more than loss. Silence. Not external silence. Inner silence. The silence that arrives when the noise begins to settle. The silence that appears when distractions disappear. The silence that remains when the performance ends, because something extraordinary happens there. In silence, you begin to notice a presence, a witness, an awareness that exists before thought, before emotion, before identity. You begin to realize that thoughts are being observed, emotions are being observed, memories are being observed. The personality itself is being observed. And then a dangerous question appears. If I can observe my thoughts, how can I be my thoughts? If I can observe my emotions, how can I be my emotions? If I can observe my personality, how can I be my personality? Who is the one observing? This question has the power to dismantle an entire lifetime of assumptions, because it reveals a possibility that changes everything. Perhaps there is a difference between you and the character you have been playing. Perhaps the ego is not your identity. Perhaps it is only a tool, a temporary structure, a useful mask for navigating the physical world. The problem is not having an ego. The problem is forgetting that it is a mask. The problem is mistaking the mask for the face. Once that happens, life becomes a constant struggle to protect an illusion. And from that illusion arise fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of criticism. Fear of failure. Fear of loss. Fear of death. Because everything the ego builds can eventually disappear, and deep down, it knows it. That is why it remains restless, defensive, anxious, always preparing for a threat that may never come. But there is something within you that does not need protection, something that does not depend on approval, something that does not depend on status, something that does not depend on circumstances, something that remains present while everything else changes. You have felt it before, perhaps while staring at the ocean, perhaps beneath a sky filled with stars, perhaps in a moment of profound love, perhaps in a moment of complete presence. For a few seconds, the character disappeared, and what remained felt more real than anything else. No comparison, no competition, no need to prove, no need to defend. Only presence, only awareness, only life itself. And strangely enough, those moments often feel more alive than the rest of existence. Why? Because truth requires no effort to exist. Only illusion requires maintenance. The ego must constantly be reinforced. Awareness simply is. This is why the wisest voices throughout history pointed toward the same doorway. Know yourself, not your reputation, not your profession, not your achievements. Know yourself, because there is a vast difference between what you have accumulated and what you are. Most people spend their entire lives without exploring that difference. They chase, they build, they acquire, they compete. Yet they never stop long enough to ask, who is living this life? Who am I without my story? Who am I without my fears? Who am I without the image I defend? Who am I when no role remains? Perhaps freedom begins with those questions. Not by destroying the ego, not by fighting it, not by hating it, but by seeing it clearly. Because what is seen consciously can no longer control you unconsciously. And when the ego finally steps down from the throne, something remarkable happens. You continue to live, continue to create, continue to work, continue to achieve, but no longer from insecurity, no longer from lack, no longer from the desperate need to prove your worth. You act because you are alive. You create because life moves through you. You serve because separation begins to dissolve. And finally, you understand. The thief was never outside, never in the world, never in other people. It was hiding behind the most frequently used word in your entire life. And now, I leave you with a question. If everything you call me disappeared tomorrow, who would remain? Stay with that question. Let it follow you into the silence, because the answer may reveal a truth that has been waiting for you your entire life. And if this reflection awakens something within you, subscribe to Inner Multiverse, because consciousness does not expand when you become someone new. It expands when you discover what was never truly you in the first place.